And we're live.
Good evening, everybody. If you can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, before we get into the agenda, we have to have a reorganization, which is required. We need to elect a chairman, vice chairman, and an election of secretary.
So with that, I want to make a motion that we keep the same officers as we had last year. You as chairman, Paul as vice chair, and Chris as secretary.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Welcome to 2025, and it's the first time in a long time we have a 7-member board. Hopefully we stay that way. Okay, we'll go. Is there any additions or deletions? Go ahead.
Yes, for 6 plan review, letter B, docket 2343, 121 Nestle Way. They have asked to be tabled from this meeting, so they will not be here this evening. Also, we discussed this on Monday evening, but in other business, docket 2368, the North Crocs mixed use, that will also not be discussed this evening.
Okay. Did everybody get a chance to review the minutes from last month?
I did, and I'd like Mr. Chairman to say that the December 18th minutes be added as written.
Okay, you heard the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's passed. MPC timeline, we're good on that, correct?
We are good. We had one Chase Bank, their extension came in today, so we're all good to go.
Okay, now we're going to the agenda.
So this was not updated then, right?
No.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so moving on, we're going to the agenda for tonight. It's docket 2363, Eastern Lift Truck Building Addition, preliminary final land development, 7050 Snowdrift Road. Meredith?
Thank you. This project involves the expansion of the existing facility by an additional 29,800 square feet and includes the removal of an existing pole building, associated parking upgrades, new sidewalks, and stormwater management facilities. The applicant has submitted a waiver request for 1 deferral and 1 waiver. The plan. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it?
We have 8 waivers, 9 waivers.
Yeah, I said 9 waivers.
Oh, you did, sorry.
1 deferral. Sorry. Yeah, so 9 waivers, 1 deferral. If I said it wrong, I'm sorry. The property is in the township's LI Light Industrial Park zoning district, and it permits for this use. In terms of the pedestrian and bicycle access, there's not too much to say. This is a flag lot. It abuts I-78. It has very little frontage on Snowdrift Road. There's no improvement identified in the Vision Zero action plan for this side of Snowdrift. There is for the opposite side to install sidewalks. But other than that, there are no improvements identified in this area. That's all of the comments I have. Dave, do you have anything else?
I know the applicant's here. I would just kind of turn it over to them for their presentation.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Joshua George. I'm with Landworks Civil Design. We were here, gosh, it's been quite a few months ago with this project. It's a very brief introduction for you. At that point, we had just started the project and we needed to obtain some zoning relief. So between the last meeting we were here and tonight, we did obtain zoning approval for 2 variances, and that was done, back in probably September, thereabouts. Then we went to the zoning hearing board and obtained approval for those variances. Since then, we have made some revisions to the plan. They've been resubmitted, and we have Dave's review comments. Tonight, we are not seeking any action from you because we have Dave's comments to finish up and get revised set of plans back in. But what we thought we might do is talk about the project a little bit and answer any questions you have, and perhaps talk about the waiver and deferral requests that we have, and have a discussion about those requests. So as Meredith said, this is a project at 7050 Conservative Road. It is about a 3.5 acre parcel. It's a unique parcel in this so much as it's a flag lot. The frontage is 50 feet on the cul-de-sac of Snowdrift Road. Does back up to I-78, although that's not actual frontage, of course, from a practical standpoint. And so we're pretty much landlocked completely by existing development on the east and west, and the north. Because on the north side, we only have a flag lot, and then on the south side by I-78. The intention is to construct an addition to the property of about 30,000 square feet, really just to clean up the existing operations at the site. This will be used for storage of existing materials and equipment that are currently stored outside on gravel and paved parking lots. And as Meredith said, it will reduce, rather eliminate an existing pole building that was put up several years ago for storage purposes also. At the same time, we're taking the opportunity to add additional parking. If you've been to the property during busy times, you'll see that they need as much parking as they can get. They have a lot of employees and come in and out. They have customers who come in and out, and they need some additional parking. So we'll be cleaning up the parking to add additional spaces. We will also be adding stormwater management. Right now, there is no stormwater management on the property, and so we will be adding that as part of the project. The project is currently served by public water, public sewer. There's no practical change for that. There's no additional flow associated with this project. We're not anticipating adding any significant number of employees because, as I said, this addition is primarily for storage purposes. With that, and because of the uniqueness of the parcel, we have several waiver requests and one deferral request. And I'd like to go through those briefly with you to get your thoughts and comments. The first waiver request, number 1 on Dave's letter, page 3 of Dave's letter, section 22704(9)A, is related to the requirement to add sidewalk along the portion of property along I-78. Clearly, that doesn't make a whole lot of practical sense, so we could ask for a waiver of that requirement. Number 2 would be curbing along the building. The site is very, very flat, and because we're adding stormwater management underground below the parking lot, we have to match the existing elevations of the stormwater drainage channel that our stormwater facility drains into. Because of that, we have a limited amount of depth to play with in terms of how deep that facility can be. And the net result is that by having parking lot sidewalk around the building, we're able to gain about 6 inches of additional elevation, which helps with stormwater management design. And so that's the reason for this particular waiver. Instead of there being curb, we have bollards to make sure that nobody would accidentally drive into the building. But we have asked for a waiver to allow us to do that approach and gain that additional 6 inches of elevation, which is critical to our stormwater management facility.
We want to discuss that bollards being either in the parking area or on the sidewalk area. That was a discussion we had Monday evening.
Do you want to let him go through all of them, then we'll come back and hit them, or?
Whichever way you'd like.
It's up to you.
Might be good to just do them one at a time. That way
Okay.
we can not forget what we said earlier.
Okay, anybody have any questions for him? On waiver number 2?
We're on 2. Comment on, or the discussion on Monday center around the bollards actually being in the parking spot, especially on the northern side, where the car is going to lose space and be jutting out more in the traffic flow that's coming towards the rear of the building. There was discussion about moving the bollards actually into the sidewalk, and I believe Dave mentioned that it is feasible, something about 36 inches between the bollard and the other end of the sidewalk. What else were the comments we had on Monday regarding that?
think that was mainly it. That was mainly it, is that the car, if to put the bollard in the spot itself, it can't utilize the full parking spot because, it's already kind of a narrow.
So what we might do in that situation then is make sure that the face of the bollard will be at the end of the parking space, the bollard being about maybe around 6 inches or so. If we set the face of the bollard directly at the end of the parking space, that would create the minimal amount of encroachment into the sidewalk, but also provide the full size of the parking space. That would make sense.
Dave, is the 8x18 a standard parking stall?
Yeah, the 9x18s are for the per zoning.
For the handicap, yeah. But what about trucks? People drive pickup trucks with hitches and all this other stuff, and they jut into property, into the driving lanes, especially when you go into like parking areas. That's one of the annoyances of when you go to have a small car, you can't see around anything.
I think the discussion on Monday centered on taking full advantage of moving the bollard all the way and not so much keeping it tangent of the bollard with the tangent of the curb, but instead keeping that go with the reverse tangent to give you the 36 clearance going towards the building.
Okay.
So that way the car can pull up over it and we're looking at just clearing out with the traffic in the backside.
You don't have any doors on that side, on the north side of the building, right?
There are doors on the north side of the building.
In the area of the sidewalk, sorry.
No, not in the area of the sidewalk. There's doors that, the doors would not get in the way of commerce in this situation.
Yeah, so you can go down to 48-inch clear and still be compliant on your sidewalk with
Yeah, I think we
ADA.
could probably make that work.
48 to the back end, so it's a 4-foot clearance from the building out to the tangent of the bollard
Well, the minimum on ADA is 48,
to get all the way around. Okay.
and then but if you do 48, you have to do passing spaces. But he's not long enough to trigger the passing space requirement.
And right now, we're showing a 5-foot sidewalk in that area, so that would still give us
Enough clearance between the two.
So we can get the 4 feet plus the bollard plus about 6 inches.
Gotcha. 6-inch diameter on the bollard. Okay.
Anything else on that waiver? Okay, go on to number 3.
All right, thank you. The next couple of waivers have to do with the requirements to provide trees. And if you've been out of this property or looked at it online, it's fairly much evident. Utility easements on the east and west, existing development on the north, I-70 on the south. With the new addition, with the increase in parking, some minor access drive modifications to improve flow and circulation, there simply isn't enough room to provide the required number of trees for the township's ordinances. So what we've discussed with staff is the possibility of either providing those trees in either a fee in lieu or perhaps as a donation to be used in one of the township's parks or some other area of the township that makes sense. We're very much open to that approach, but we wanted to have a discussion with you to see how it work and what we would like us to do to help meet this requirement, providing benefit that would otherwise be required for projects.
Is there any room along the access drive? Your drive-in, your driveway?
On the west side of the access drive is where our sanitary sewer line goes out. So that's a hard no on that side. On the east side is where water and gas lines come down from the cul-de-sac. So it's very, very limited as to where we can provide trees along there. And we're happy to provide trees. We're not trying to skirt our responsibility to provide the trees. There's just physically nowhere to put them on a property like this. And so, sort of a fee or perhaps a donation of trees for use elsewhere makes sense as a practical matter. We have some shrubs in a few places where they'll fit. We don't have much.
And that'll be something to be discussed more with staff at that point in time, where what the township prefers. If you
Yeah, so I think what we kind of discuss is, if we can work together and identify, can we, because you do have a couple trees, like can we go, larger diameter to get a couple more credits? or put a couple larger trees somewhere or some more shrubs and things like that we can talk about.
We're still gonna be far short of the.
Absolutely, and I think we talked about that. Like, it's just to basically to minimize and maximize what's on the property as far as landscaping and trees, and then just to minimize the waiver that you need. So then that way, I think when you come back, we can identify how much actual relief you need, and then we can work together on a fee if that's what you want to do, and because we've done that in the past, and then that way it's kind of established with your waiver request then
Okay.
for next time.
That's great. Very
Okay.
So that's sort of applicable to waivers number 3, 4, and 5. They're all for different tree requirements. Number 3 for trees because of the size of the lot. Number 4 for trees because of the paved areas of parking. And number 5 because of the street frontages. But it's all the same basic premise for each of the waivers. They're separate. So then I'm going to jump over to number 6 on Dave's letter, which is the waiver of the preliminary plan requirements. We have provided a plan to meet both the preliminary and final plan requirements. Phasing this project, and it's a small site with a building addition to the existing facility. No public improvements in terms of street widening or any kind of roadway improvements. It's appropriate, reasonable task for the waiver. Questions or concerns about it?
At this point, since we're not taking an action tonight, it doesn't really matter.
Well, conceptually, you're comfortable with it.
As we go through it, there are some other things that came up, and really it's going to depend on, I guess, when you do finally bring the plan back, if the staff is in favor of it then.
Okay.
It has been approved at times. Typically, we've shied away from doing that recently. The comment here tonight was that there's no objection to it, so it's kind of, when it comes back next time is when we'll take it into account.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah, there, some of that criteria is, we look for how far along they are with, LCCD. They do have their incompleteness letter, so I think by the time they resubmit, they should be further along. And, I think, we'll see what it is, but they're in pretty good shape for that.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good. And Dave, on that note, we have a meeting with them tomorrow to walk through the final.
Cool.
Fingers crossed for that process. All right, number 8 has to do with the dewatering time for the stormwater management facility. In this case, we have a managed release concept stormwater facility line facility. There's no infiltration on the site, limestone, and so this was been designed in accordance with DEP requirements, and the result is the way the township's requirements for that. Dave, I believe you're comfortable with that.
Yep.
Probably the one that we will have some comment on is the one that was just skipped over, number 7.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Got ahead of myself there. I apologize.
Yep.
Go back to number 7. This was a comment about a waiver request for providing a physical sidewalk connection from the building itself out to the cul-de-sac. We had extensive discussions about this with staff. Because there's no sidewalk on the cul-de-sac to begin with right now, there's nothing to connect ours to, number 1. Number 2, nobody's walking to this project. Everybody's driving in and driving out, for better or for worse. And it seems like adding additional pervious surface on a narrow strip to get back from the cul-de-sac that doesn't have sidewalk to a parking lot in a building doesn't make a ton of sense in this particular case. So we've asked for the waiver to allow that not to be constructed, but happy to discuss it.
I guess the comment was made on Monday is that is part of the building code requiring it.
Is that able to be determined or not?
So I spoke with some of the staff members here who are familiar with the UCC, and they said that there's a requirement to provide a path, but it's not defined. So path is not defined in the UCC, and it just needs to be clear, unobstructed. So they said that there's no requirement to have an actual material because that's not defined in the UCC. So they said that they couldn't justify requiring the installation of a concrete walkway, stone walkway. It just has to be a clear path. So they said that that could be grass.
Okay. All right, so that was the main.
Thank you.
That was, I've never heard of that UCC requirement. I've been doing this almost 30 years. I've never heard of that specific requirement. I've never seen it implemented anywhere.
Yeah, it's not the accessibility section. Basically, buildings should be accessible from public rights of way. So you need a clear path to get to your building.
Yeah, so,
Really vague, I guess.
so lawn won't meet that requirement for an accessible way.
It would. I think it would. Yes.
I was told it would.
Yes.
How would you ever measure it? Since you can't have more than a half an inch of divots.
That's what our code officials stated.
So I take it that has to do with kind of like the ADA type requirements for not having a bumpy path coming back, more or less.
Right.
Gotcha.
In this case, our accessible route is from our handicap parking spaces to the front
Hmm.
of the building, which is a clear and obvious requirement and provided for appropriately here in this project. The accessible route for anybody is there from those vehicles.
Gotcha. And that's what about from the building is more clear.
Okay.
I want a clarification on. So on that front, I guess for you.
What was that number, 7?
Yep.
I did number 8 and then number 9, streetlights. And as you see in Dave's comments, he notes that this waiver is not actually required. He thought it was initially, but it is not. So it will be coming off.
Okay.
And then last but not least, the deferral request. This kind of ties back into the sidewalk discussion we were having. Instead of a formal waiver request for sidewalk along the cul-de-sac, we asked for a deferral in so much as at some point in the future, perhaps there is some additional sidewalk there that's connected to the deferral will be in place for the property owner. That sidewalk being at such a point in the future.
Anybody have any questions, comments?
That.
Okay.
And last but not least, before I wrap up, do you have any questions about the plan, the project, anything we want to talk about related to that? On Monday.
Just out of curiosity, what's going on in the, is that a full building or is it just a covered area? What are you doing in the backside of the building you're adding?
You mean the new addition?
Yes.
It's going to be for storage use.
Okay.
For their existing materials and equipment. And Luke Gross and Jeff Yoder are here from Eastern Lift Truck. If you have questions about their operations, what they do. But in essence, they're right now storing a lot of equipment and materials outside in the parking lot, gravel in these areas, and in that whole building. And this will get everything inside, get it tidied up, be much better from a safety and security standpoint, be much better from maintenance because things won't be out in the weather, and it'll be primarily a storage facility. The two buildings will be connected. The truck dock that's there now will continue to be there, but it will now be sandwiched between the existing building and the proposed building. So very little operational change other than providing a much bigger area to do work inside.
Okay, so from Google Maps or Earth, it shows a bunch of fork trucks on the outside on the picture now between the pole barn and then propane tanks. So all that stuff will be going internal.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be a much nicer property and facility when this is done. Much better, I think, downstream perspective.
Okay. Anybody else have anything for him?
I have just one. Did you have an opportunity to review the fire commissioner's review letter?
We did, and we actually tried to call him. Jeff, when did you reach out yesterday yesterday?
Okay.
We weren't able to connect. We did talk about that extensively when we sat down at the staff level. I thought we had kind of ironed those issues out. But they still kind of letter, so wasn't,
Yeah, I'm sure. I know that it's been a busy week, so I expect that Peter Christ will get back to you on this comment letter.
Yeah, one of the things we intended to do was follow up with him after tonight's meeting, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Throughout the staff, I felt like we were all on the same page. And a couple of these issues that I thought we had discussed and addressed were still in the letter, so I want to make sure that I didn't walk out with the wrong impression, or perhaps we just need to follow up and make a minor change to the plan.
Anything else?
Have you submitted for your NPDES yet?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was submitted. It's been reviewed. As Dave mentioned, we have gotten administrative comments. We actually resubmitted based upon those administrative comments. And then we got an email from the Conservation District last week saying, hey, you've resolved most of the administrative comments. Here's the resolved. We haven't gone primary issues they had that we want to talk about are the infiltration versus the MRC facility. They had asked that we consider looking at two very, very small areas along the access drive in front of the existing and proposed buildings where infiltration could perhaps be placed. But our geotechnical engineer did the evaluation for soil conditions and limestone. Basically said to us, we don't want to infiltrate here. Soil conditions are such that it doesn't make sense. There's not enough soil mantle to provide infiltration and not increase the potential for sinkhole formation. Really, because there's already a couple smaller sinkholes in another corner of the site. So we just we need to prove to LCC's willingness to say, yes, we agree with you. That's where we're at. 2 or 3 comments. Need to wrap up, and hopefully we'll be good to go with the administrative part and get through the technical part as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time tonight. Look forward to seeing you again soon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Al, do we need a table?
I don't think we need to do anything official.
Okay, since there's nothing else on the agenda, does anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, or concerns for us? If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion's been made. Is there?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good night.